Hey, help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also hit that like button to subscribe if you want more Cavs-focused content.
So we all know that the Cleveland Cavaliers are in a peculiar place right now. On one hand, you can argue that the Cavs were early to the level of success that they had last year. If we fast forward or actually rewind about a calendar year ago, none of us really had real expectations that the Cavs would be in this championship window already in year one of Kenny Atkinson. We were expecting a little bit of a reset and trying to figure out like where the Cavs are going to be, maybe the 55-win team. Well, they blew all of those lower expectations up when they had the success that they had in the regular season last year, which accelerated the timeline before the playoffs. Cavs were the 1 seed in the East. You're not the 1 seed in the East without being expected to be a championship team. And the Cavs did not live up to those championship expectations, losing to the Pacers in the second round. Now the Cavs are in a weird spot. Last year, you proved that you could have a championship record in the regular season, but the postseason questions that this team has still remains. The questions about the structure of this roster and if it can win a championship still remains. There's no doubt that this could be a 1 seed team like there was last year, right? If you would have told me the Cavs would be the 1 seed last year, I think people would have been like, nah, that's not going to happen. The Celtics are still there. But now I think it's almost a given that people expect the Cavs to be the 1 seed. I've heard people call them the Baltimore Ravens of the NFL. They're getting to that same place that the Rockets were in with James Harden, where people stop caring about the regular season because there's just not enough postseason success. Well, in order to avoid that happening this year, a year where the East is wide open, nobody really made a giant move to contend with the Cavs spot. Right now, we're looking at 2 teams who have both struggled to get over that same hump in the New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers, going into this season being the favorite to come out the East, with Tyrese Halliburton injured for the year, with the Celtics not only reloading but also dealing with a Jason Tatum Achilles injury. The East has never been as open as it is now. So let's talk about 4 players on this Cavs team that need to improve in order for the Cavs to reach their lofty goals this year. First guy on this list for me, DeAndre Hunter. Now, DeAndre Hunter did a great job right after the trade deadline of acclimating to Cleveland and playing some good basketball in Cleveland. But if you look at DeAndre Hunter's game, I think there's 2 things you have questions about. One, can he anchor this second team? There's no Ty Jerome anymore to lean on for scoring and creation like there was last year. And you're going to lean on some of that being created from DeAndre Hunter, who, was sometimes he was really good at it. Sometimes he was pretty bad at it, right? So you're going to need that from DeAndre Hunter. He's going to have to be truly the 6th man or maybe even be inserted into the starting lineup. But either way, you're going to ask more of DeAndre Hunter this season than you asked of DeAndre Hunter last season from an offensive standpoint. Either it be higher usage, being in the starting lineup, more scoring from the bench. You're going to need more out of DeAndre than you got out of him last year. Then you get to the second part of this. I understand that DeAndre Hunter has never been an amazing rebounder. He will probably never be an amazing rebounder, but he needs to be a better rebounder than he is right now. The Cavs' biggest problem is not, that they're not a mean enough group, right? I know people kind of throw that in as the Cavs' biggest problem. I don't think the Cavs' biggest problem is that. I think the Cavs' biggest problem is that they are an undersized basketball team. And what I mean by that is when it comes to weight and strength, they're not a very strong basketball team and they're not a very heavy basketball team, which means there are times where they get out-rebounded and it looks like they're getting bullied. There are times where offense just isn't as easy to come by because they're not great at screening. They need to get better at all of that heavy stuff. And DeAndre Hunter is one of the biggest guys, one of the strongest guys on the team. He needs to be good at that kind of stuff. I don't need him to be an A+ rebounder, but I do need him to be a C- rebounder, right? He's a D- rebounder right now. He needs to be a C- rebounder by the end of the season. And I need him to be a decent screen guy. Like, I need him to be better at screening. The whole team overall needs to just be better at screening. We need to screen. With small guards in our backcourt, we need to be a better screen team. So that's what I'm looking at with DeAndre Hunter. His improvement this year is going to be integral to the Cavs' success because how often does strength come up for this basketball team? How often does size come up for this basketball team? He has strength. He has size. We need him to utilize it a lot better. And with Ty Jerome gone, you're going to need that extra scoring punch from somebody, and it might just be DeAndre Hunter. Sam Merrill, the big thing on Sam Merrill is consistency. My man is just not consistent, right? Last year, he was a 37% three-point shooter. Year prior, he was a 40% three-point shooter. Sometimes Sam Merrill is hotter than hot, and he is almost Klay Thompson-like. Sometimes Sam Merrill, he's terrible, right? Like, I think there just needs to be more consistency there, especially since he was given the contract that a lot of people thought would be earmarked for Ty Jerome. Now, again, Ty Jerome's not a picture of consistency. We lived through this in the postseason. It's about as vividly as you could live through something like that. But what Ty Jerome is somebody who can score on a consistent enough basis that you're not worried about your bench scoring. Can that be the case from Sam Merrill? I'm not asking him to be, Steph Curry or Klay Thompson. But I do want him to be consistent, right? Somewhere between him and Max Strus, you just got to get a more consistent shooter in there. And if he could be a sniper for this team, somebody who can make open spot up threes on a consistent basis, there's a real use for that kind of a player. Third guy who I want to be improved is Lonzo Ball. The big question with Lonzo Ball is, one, availability. Does that improve this season? Can he stay available for the whole year or for most of the year in all of the postseason? That's going to be a big question for Lonzo. Three-point shooting. Can he be a consistent three-point shooter here? He was at one point a 40% shooter from three in his career. I don't know with how many attempts, but still somebody who can shoot the three. We know that he's going to be able to provide some length and some playmaking, which is part of the main reason he's here. And then also coming off of all these knee injuries, is the defense going to be there from Lonzo Ball? If you get, let's say, best case scenario, you're getting pre-knee injury Lonzo Ball, a year removed from this whole knee fiasco he's had, then that's everything that this team needs right now, right? Somebody who could facilitate off the bench, somebody who can be a backup point guard in a situation where if Darius Garland goes down, the offense doesn't completely fall off a cliff, and somebody who can make some threes occasionally and provide some length and strength and defense in that backcourt, as well as rebounding. He's a decent rebounder at the point guard position. So if we can get that version of Lonzo Ball, that solves a lot of problems for the Cavaliers, and that would be a big deal. This is part of the reason I've been like, hey, Lonzo Ball would make sense for the Cavs. But the knee injuries have thrown into question, what Lonzo Ball are we getting, right? So, that's really something you need to see. And then the last guy who needs to improve for the Cavs to win a championship is Evan Mobley. We have convinced ourselves every step of the way that it's not necessary for this to be true. But every time we convince ourselves that it's not necessary to be true, we are then shown that it is necessary to be true. And this is no disrespect to Darius Garland. This is no disrespect to Donovan Mitchell. But the Cavs aren't going to win a championship unless Evan Mobley is the best player on this team at some capacity. He doesn't have to be the best scorer, but he has to be somebody you can rely on in the fourth quarter and get him a bucket, right? He has to be in that conversation. I think he has made great strides from where we were a calendar year ago to where we are right now. And he's made the appropriate stride. Now that he's a consistent 20-point scorer on offense, congratulations, a very efficient 20-point scorer, by the way, as well as the best defensive player in basketball. Now, the next step for Evan Mobley is become a fourth quarter threat, right? That's the big thing. So many games where Evan just disappears in the fourth quarter. I had lenience for it last year because I understood that that's where Evan was in his development, that we weren't asking him to be that yet, that was Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland's role. Well, now it needs to be his role too. And we can't sit by and blame this on the guards and blame this on Kenny Atkinson. This is on Evan. Evan's got to get the ball, right? Evan don't play wide receiver. He play power forward. And the reason I bring that up is sometimes we act like Evan play wide receiver, which is like, oh, he can only get the ball if the quarterback decides to get him the ball. Basketball is much different than football. Evan can get the damn ball whenever he wants. He's one of the only guys who rebounds on the team, right? Him and Jared Allen, he can get the ball whenever he wants. He brings the ball up the court all the time. Evan not getting shots in the fourth quarter is not on Kenny Atkinson as much as it's on Evan Mobley. Evan's got to make the point of understanding that he deserves to have the ball in the fourth quarter. He deserves to make or miss a shot in the fourth quarter. That him taking a shot, even if he misses it, is still what's best for the team. That's where we need Evan to get to. If Evan's not there by the time we get to the playoffs, I'm not going to be confident about this team's ability to break through. If Evan is there by the time they get to the playoffs and demonstrates that in the playoffs, then this is a Cavs team that has a real chance to win a championship. Evan Mobley, whether we like having to be patient on this or not, he's going to have to win finals MVP for the Cavs to win an NBA finals. He's going to have to be the man on some level for the Cavs to do it, right? Maybe it's Kawhi on the Spurs level of being the man, but he's got to be the man. That's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Everybody have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.